All right, all right. Good morning, good morning. It is 6:30 on the nose. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to the 6:30 Club. Hope everyone's feeling well. I'm also the founder of Red Dog Mindset. We're also hosting an open house this week for anyone that wants to come in. And here we are on May 6th, where the market's feeling a little vulnerable after a huge move like we've seen over multiple weeks. The question is this a rollover? Will it be a shallow pull in? What's going to happen ahead of the Fed? Um, and we shall see. At this point, I did reduce a little bit of risk as things felt a little bit, just not special. There are definitely some things to hold and some things to do. It all depends on your time frame. Yesterday was a big earnings move. We talked about what would Palantir do after a huge move like we've seen. Will it be enough to give it more gains, and the risk reward isn't there? So I have no position in Palantir, but I'll definitely be looking at some levels to see how it reacts today. HIMS also, so you're talking about two names that typically like to have momentum. The question is there any momentum left? S&P futures down like 40 handles. We're below yesterday's low, so we'll see, do we hold below yesterday's low and shake the tree down, or do we reclaim them like we've done the past week or so? So lots of different ways. I do think this setup is a decent one because I think most people have risk down. The oscillator was like plus 80, so whenever the oscillator goes to plus 80 like it's been the last 2 days, you try and reduce a little risk. But anyway, let's take a look at the chart. Take a look at the SPYs. Overall, 568 is now this little peak. I guess you could draw another ascending channel here, kind of like this, where it's going to open below 561. Last time it did that, you remember it came in, they shook the tree, and then it reclaimed all the levels and then continued higher. I don't know what's going to happen today, but the SPY is down. It's at 559.70. So we're below 561.70, which is yesterday's low. So we're back below the 200-day. So after a day or two above, sometimes they like to do that and get people to cover their shorts and kind of like fake people into the market, and then they roll over. But it's a little early to tell for that. So do we reclaim 561.70? At this point, it's hard to tell. Maybe we rally to it. We'll see. If we don't, and they want to kind of shake things up, you have this pivot, which is 557.86, and then a gap to fill down to like 553. So these are your levels, right? And after a move from 481 low and the higher low, makes some sense to pack and fill a little bit, especially ahead of the Fed. And the Fed doesn't seem like it's going to be doing anything. So let's go to Palantir. Palantir, came right up to its all-time high. Isn't that cute? Now all of a sudden you're going to have a potential double top with a hole in the chart. So we'll see how much of today's move gets filled. It's down 8.9% at 112.68, so it's below the 8-day. You have 110, which is a point of reference from that low from April 30th, and then you have the 21-day. So does this area hold? So what I'll do is I'll watch it put a pivot low in, just say it's 112, and if it bounces to 112.5 and the market comes in and it doesn't come in, maybe you buy versus 112, you risk 50 cents to see how much of that gap fills. If all of a sudden it goes to 112, bounces back up, market tries to come off those lows, SPYs go from down 559 to 560 plus, and it doesn't move, chances are there could be more downside. So we'll see. This will be pretty important. Does this area hold? It's had a big move. We had it as a power play here. And I'm glad I saved ourselves some money where we weren't long. At this point, some point, this 125 will be a great level to buy through. Just probably not today. Netflix, a lot of guys bought the dip in Netflix yesterday. Pretty impressive that this held the 8-day. After a huge move from taking out 1064 with the whole Trump tariffs on the movies, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess with it down 7 or 8 points, see if this also goes red to green. Yesterday I mentioned to you guys that the order of my go-to list has changed, and some guys made some good cash flow buying Microsoft to go red to green, buying Google that went red to green, buying Meta that went red to green, and we said Amazon and Apple, which acted poorly post numbers, need more time. So we'll see how that goes today. So anyway, Microsoft, I would say as long as this holds 429-ish, which is this low, I would think that, it can be under accumulation and maybe get another bull flag from higher prices, but we'll see. If you're in a swing trade and you're not active, this 424 is your gap pivot. What does Trader Stewie call this? The big peg play. Right now, we'll see if it's pegged to the upside. What's Microsoft doing this morning? It's down 3, so maybe there'll be a play. I'll look at that. Maybe buy it for cash flow if you don't own it. Meta also, it's down 7. Okay, 592. What was yesterday's low in Meta? Yesterday's low in Meta was 588. So, we'll see if, again, we can create cash flow. Creating cash flow is what the name of our job is. So I would think I'm going to look at Meta. Maybe Meta could be buyable versus 588. If that doesn't hold, it's got to hold 578. And then here's that pro earnings gap pivot. So those have moved up the list. Also, I guess you could see, what's Amazon doing. Amazon still has Jeff selling a bunch of stock. Yesterday's low on Amazon was 185.53. 185.53. It's a little bit above that. So I guess if you're looking at Amazon, I guess see if that holds. To me, it's really not that compelling. But, as soon as everyone starts losing sight of it, it usually starts. It's actually below that low. So this is what, 184.89. This is 170. So it's really in no man's land. Apple, also on the defensive. I have no Apple. Apple broke this area on earnings day, and now it looks like it's headed towards 196-ish. 196-ish is a gap. Maybe, maybe it tries to hold that. Broke 206. Remember that right there, that's a little unfilled gap. So that gave you some clues to stay away. I've stayed away. I haven't touched it since earnings. Chase still owns it in his Robinhood account, but that's a different story. So this is 196. Where's Apple this morning? Apple is 197. So at some point, the buyback will be, have more power than the sellers, just not quite yet. So this is 197.75. What's this low? This low is, let's get this out of the way. Let's bring Netflix back over here. This is, by the way, this is what one of my screens winds up looking like. Everyone's like, Red Dog, I think you have ADHD. I'm like, I know I have ADHD, but I line all my level 2 so I can see the inside action, see it trading during the day. I'm an old school, price action guy. You remember there used to be a ticker that people read? Well, I still read the ticker in some way. So anyway, so Apple's low, which I like to always put the low in, is right here in order to 198.21. So let's draw that. 198.21. By the way, happy Tuesday. Get Trice coffee. I'm still in the middle of my fast. Feeling good, energetic. If you tuned in at the 20 and 5:20 with me, we had a nice workout. Got like about 2 pounds of sweat out of me. Yeah. Wake up, feel good, get your mind right. That's what we do here. Anyway, this is old. See if it holds 202. It didn't. Now you have 198.21. Let's see. You know what? Some guy, I gotta say, someone from my virtual trading floor, the alpha team's like, hey, Red Dog, it kind of looks like the spies where you had the low and a higher low. Why don't we buy some oil just in case some things start to heat up in the Mideast with Israel and Yemen and this and that. So I did buy some USO calls yesterday. That'll help me. Up 2.6%. This is the 8th day, I guess. This is where it can get to. What's this? 65-ish. What did we buy yesterday? We bought the 64 calls. That helped. This is, as you can see, I don't have a whole lot going on. This is the alpha team. If you want to come in and try it today, I would say let's do it. As you can see, I don't have a lot going on. I still have some ASTS. I have very small Bitcoin left over, but we were buying Bitcoin at 86, 87,000. I sold most of it in 97,000. A little bit of Google left over. Have some SPY premium sold. That's kind of my hedge. This was a new position yesterday. Amazon didn't work for earnings. NVIDIA, we'll see how that goes today. TTD has been a good trade. I still have that for numbers. I sold half yesterday. So, I'm pretty light. Pretty light. Pretty light. Anyway, and yes, there's no gold here. Guys, for me, I said gold was a put play for a trade. It wasn't like, everyone's like, oh, Red Dog, you called it top and gold. I didn't call it top and gold. I said it's a good trade, and we did it pretty well. Okay, what do we do? I went along the puts here, and I sold them. I put on some $300 puts here and into the 295, which was my target. I sold 80%, and then on this day I got flat. So for all you gold guys, I did not tell you to sell your gold. I said reduce it, get hedged if you want to be cute, and maybe not lose whatever percentage this is. But if you're active, you're active. If you're not active, you just sit in your gold. Anyway, this gap's getting filled. This island top is no longer. What is this? This is 310. It's already filling that. Gold is strong. Most people in gold have it as an asset allocation anyway. If you've been in gold, you've probably been in gold for a decade. It's part of your pie chart. If you're a trader of gold, though, this candle was pretty good to respect. If you got rid of your gold when it couldn't hold, when the GLDs failed to hold 316 or took out 314, you were able to be a lot more flexible into that 295. But anyway, everyone does it different. I do not have any gold left. I think Power Plays has like 20% left, but they made a ton of money, 400% on the first part of it, or 200%. Anyway, let's see what some of my dogs are saying around the world. Let's go Knicks, Richard Judge. Yeah, Jalen Brunson. Wow. I'll tell you, the whole team was hustling. Bridges, Anobi, awesome. You want me to? By the way, James, Tesla is a pain in the ass. I'll say it, and I'm going to curse too. A pain in the ass. I lost a lot of money in Tesla yesterday. Meanwhile, it's still just kind of in this small pocket pivot, not acting special. 270, 440. It's down 4. I have no Tesla. I got stopped out of all my Tesla yesterday. Still above this 272, 274, hanging by a thread. I guess it's worth a look. If you don't own Tesla, maybe you can make cash flow. Maybe market goes lower, it shows a little relative strength, it tries to go red to green and act a little bit better. Well, yesterday it was weaker, was not acting better, but it's worth a look. I'm going to look at it, I'm not going to lie. QBTS, I got out of it yesterday. It's just an annoying name. I'm not committed to it. You had a nice potent candle on Friday, and then it gave back way too much. When I'm in a name that has like a nice green candle, like an igniting bar, I don't want it to give back 50%. It gives back 50%. I get out of the way. It means nothing to me. Jay Powell's tomorrow. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Who's got OCD? You have OCD? Anyway, let's see who else. How about them next? Yeah. Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Topher. Good morning, MLD. EIDO. I have no idea what that is. Let's see what that is. EIDO. Sounds like B, like bingo, BINGO. Oh, Indonesia. Yeah. I'm not going to get into that. Anyhow, WRD. Some of you guys are talking about this. It's got to deal with Uber. I would think if it really wants to, rally a little bit, it can get towards 10-ish. By the way, Dash should be out with numbers any minute now. I did not take Dash into the print, even though I do think Dash at some point is going to be a lot higher. Just for me, for my process, I don't take stock into earnings. And we bought this many different times post earnings. Last real play we had for Power Plays was right in here, right around this 185. Look at that red dog reversal. Remember, I'm like, you buy more through the 191, and I went to 205. We'll see. Dash is going to have to be really, really, really good, because Palantir was pretty good too, and Palantir is down 10. Dash is also taking over Deliveroo, so we'll see. IBIT from here, I don't know. I would say, Bitcoin had a nice move. If it could hold this 52.76-ish and create a nice little upper channel, I would think that's constructive. It could come in a little bit more also. I would think that this area holds if it wants to be any good. This is when I was very excited about Bitcoin. This is when I was buying the $50 calls, the $51 calls. I was all over with you guys, and I've reduced all the way up. So I'm very small. We'll see if it can hold in that little spot there. What's up, Cobblestone? What else? Hymns I have no really, thoughts of. ASTS, a little bit of a pain in the ass also. After a nice move that it had on, on Friday. I tried buying some back around 25.20. Didn't really work. I'm going to give it a little bit more space. I don't know what it's going to take. It's in this channel, and some point maybe it wakes up or not. Just don't overdo it. Maybe just go out and buy some calls a little further out. What up, Bobby 4.0? All right, guys. So here, let's go back one more time. You have the FOMC tomorrow. We've had a really, really big move. You've had this W type of pattern where you had your low, higher low, broke through some resistance, stalled a little bit over here. This is 561.70. It's below that. I would think this area should hold. If the market's going to be any good to go higher, this area probably be a good support. Just remember, tomorrow on the FOMC gets very volatile. So don't be in a rush and just make sure you know what you can handle. And we'll continue to figure it out. Listen, know your time frame. I did sell half of my blood on the street account, but that's an account that I can't put money in. 401k, I'm putting in forever. As long as I live forever, I'm not going to live forever. 529, et cetera, et cetera. Mister. All right. I think Mister's worth a look. You know, I remember I told you about 398. I said be a seller into 398. You know, this is when we were very focused right in here. That was the same time Bitcoin was like 86,000. It went right to resistance. I would think, you know, this area, you know, could be some good support, you know, but really this is a little bit more compelling support around 354. What's Mister doing this morning? I bet you it's down like $6. Five. I think Mister is worth a look. Could be a red to green type look. It's been acting well. I would line it up though with you know, IBIT, which is only down 26 cents. So, you know, I would just trade Mister. If you need to trade something with Bitcoin, GME kind of sucks, right? Not great. Mara, no. Just I think you can handle Mister. And if you can't handle Mister, maybe go with like the MSTU thing, which is, you know, it's an 8.25. It's like trading TSLL, you know, versus Tesla. If you feel like you want to make more shares and it's a little less loose and wide, you could do that. All right, guys, good luck today. If you want to tune in, come hang out with the Alpha team for the week. We have an open house, and why not? The only thing you're paying is some time, and maybe you'll make some money, and maybe you'll learn how to get yourself in a routine and a process that you can do every day and make a living at this, which I've been doing for 28 years. I'm an old dog. I'll see you guys later.